They said Earth was afraid. That was the story passed around the council chambers, whispered over drinks in elite war rooms, scribbled into intel reports with smug signatures. Earth refused every invitation, declined every alliance, didn't join. The first, second, or third intergalactic war. Neutral, they said. Cowards. They meant that the Frenori Prime warlord leaned forward, claw tapping against the marble of the high table. They've got teeth, sure, he muttered, eyes gleaming under. Violet light. But they've never bitten. That's the truth of it. They bluff. The chamber laughed out 23 species in attendance. Dozens more watching the stream. Behind them, 1,000 planets ready to take Earth's silence as permission. Not. One of them questioned the logic. Earth hadn't retaliated. Earth hadn't postured. Earth hadn't spoken. So they assumed it was safe. Then they knocked. It started with a strike team. Just 5 operatives. The assignment was simple. Breach a listening post buried in the side of Earth's exoborder near Saturn, hijack a relay node, and transmit a council claim. A symbolic act. Quick. Quiet. Their ship pierced the dark, cloaked in an old Rilvan phase shield, coasting past Europa like a ghost. One whispered into the comms. Feels like robbing a grave. No grave, another chuckled. Just a museum. They haven't upgraded in decades. They landed in silence. No alarms. No resistance. Just a curved metal hatch under 50 meters of moon rock, blinking softly like a heartbeat slowed to sleep. They cut through, then vanished. No transmission. No retrieval. No wreckage. No evidence. Signal that had followed their descent didn't return data. It returned a phrase. 4 words, projected into every council feed simultaneously. You found the door. Panic didn't spread at first. Confusion? Yes. 100 advisors tried to scrub the signal. 1,000 analysts claimed Earth was bluffing again, until one of the council's deep space stations lost power. Then another, and another. Each blinked off without warning. No explosions. No hacking. Just absence. Systems untouched. Engines. Fine, but the will to function gone. The 4th station came back online 20 minutes. Later. No crew. No life. No logs. Just a single line of Terran code etched into the command console. We said no. Commander Jules Riker stood alone in the vault beneath Olympus Mons, arms folded behind his back, watching as a series of satellites activated in sequence. Councils poked the wrong crater. His aide said, voice tight. Jules didn't flinch. They think we're hiding, he replied. We are. He smiled thin, cold. Only because they don't remember what we look like when we stand up. Behind him, systems long mothballed flared to life. Satellites pivoted. Dust shivered. Across old launch rails, a transmission booted up, unmarked, untraceable, routed through obsolete Terran repeaters never charted by alien maps. Are we responding? The aide asked. No, Jules turned. We're remembering. On Kavara 9, the council convened again this time in private. No audience. No stream. Just a red room lit by old hatred and new fear. They're activating something, hissed the Talari delegate. Something big, something old. They're bluffing, snapped the Frenori again. If Earth had teeth, we'd have seen blood by now. No, a voice whispered from the shadows. It came from the edge of the table, an old Arakan strategist, long retired, pulled from exile after Earth's last diplomatic silence 60 years ago. They don't bluff, she said. They warn. Once, the chamber fell still, and after the warning, someone asked. She stared back, eyes dark. There is no after. Above Europa, a transmission finally returned. It wasn't from the council. It wasn't even a recording. It was live. Black. Screen. Low humming. Then static. and a single Terran voice, unrushed, unimpressed, unforgiving, you opened something. You thought it was a bunker. The static sharpened. It was a tomb. Pause. You just gave it permission to wake up. Silence. Then the screen blinked white, and 4 words reappeared, and that was mercy. They thought Earth was asleep. They forgot who built the locks. Now. Something inside was turning them. And Earth still hadn't responded. They haven't. Give me. A moment. Full script coming. The first pulse came from beneath. Earth's crust. Not a launch. Not a transmission. A memory. Tectonic sensors buried for centuries recorded a single, unnatural tremor. One not caused by movement, but by release. A shift in the planet's deep iron. Magnetic fields fluctuated for 0.7 seconds. Across the North Atlantic Rift, every orbital relay picked it up. The Council's listening station above Luna detected it too late. Their AI flagged it as psychological noise. By the time they noticed, 6 Terran satellites realigned on their own. They didn't aim at the stars. They didn't track Council fleets. They looked inward, toward Earth. That's when the gravity started talking. At Council Core Relay 3. A Fronori general screamed into a conference feed. I want fleet positioning on their orbital weapons. Who authorized these satellites to come online? They're old tech. We mapped them last century. No, muttered the Arakan delegate. You mapped the decoys. The old Arakan was shaking, her fingers twitching over the glass table as if remembering an ancient rhythm. They never dismantled the originals. They buried them inside orbital dead zones. Shadows between sensor sweeps. Places only Earth would look. Why? She didn't answer, but her silence made everyone lean forward. And then the report came in. 12 Evoran ships gone. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Gone. Their coordinates matched the approach vector near one of Earth's lunar dead zones. All 12. Ships had entered proximity range. None emerged. Council feeds lit up. Panicked voices layered over each other. EMP? No, they didn't go dark. They were removed. By what? And then the feed changed. Not the COMS. The systems themselves. The screens rewrote themselves in Terran code. Every screen, every channel, every system, and a single sentence appeared in Terran Basic. We warned you once. On Earth. Commander Jules Riker watched from the Olympus. Vault as a hatch opened for the first time in 147 years. Steam bled across the floor. Metal creaked like something exhaling after a long, bitter sleep. The vault had no label. No access code. Its walls were built before orbital construction was common. And now it breathed. Vault 9 is responding to lunar triangulation, an AI reported. Keyed to harmonic pulses embedded in Europa's entry breach. Jules didn't blink. They knocked. Were answering. The AI hesitated. This action has no precedent in our doctrine. Exactly, Jules said, walking forward. Because they never came this far before. Below Geneva, where most assumed nothing existed but ice and earth, the Chamber of Echoes, activated. Only 6 people had clearance. 4 were already dead. 1 was missing. The 6th, Dr. Alana Cross, stood barefoot in the center of a room made entirely of memory alloy. Every wall shimmered with faint heat, storing history and light. Before her, a podium opened. Inside was the box. Black, seamless, humble. She placed her hand on it. Reactivate. It pulsed once and began rewriting itself, not opening, not transforming, remembering. Authorization confirmed. The AI said, voice unsure, what protocol is it calling? Asked a young aide from the door. Helena didn't turn. She only whispered, it's not calling a protocol. The box clicked. It's calling them. In orbit above Earth, a ripple appeared, not visual. A fold in probability. Every nearby council ship's NAV system reported anomalies. Star positions incorrect. Internal clocks rewound 6 seconds. Crew experienced nausea, flashes of memories that didn't belong to them. One navigator screamed and vomited after seeing her own death. Another broke down weeping after remembering a child he'd never had. The council accused Earth of psychological warfare. Earth never answered, because they weren't doing it. The system was. Earth wasn't defending itself. It was reminding the universe what happens when you force a peacekeeper to become a reaper. The Relic Dominion, a war-hardened faction long known for their fleet size and ruthlessness, deployed 40 cruisers toward Earth's edge. They called it a preemptive correction. The lead admiral, Rathuk, issued a declaration of superiority mid-flight. You remained on the sidelines for too long, Earth. Now you move, and the galaxy responds. But when the Relic fleet reached Earth's system, they found it changed. The stars didn't match. Trajectories twisted. One moment, they were 18,000 kilometers from the Mars relay. The next, they were behind Saturn. Fuel readings flatlined. Momentum warped. And then, something answered. From the void near Neptune's edge, where no Earth ship had ever been documented. A new object appeared. It didn't fly. It emerged, like a thought, finishing itself, like a story waiting for punctuation. The object had no name. No designation. But across every Relic ship, the same word appeared in their native language. Shieldless. They fired. Everything. Beam cannons. Coil disruptors. Gravity. FRACTALS. It didn't flinch. It didn't flicker. It just opened. Not like a mouth, like a memory. And light spilled out. Not to burn, but to erase. One Relic commander reported, I didn't see a weapon. I saw regret. Then his ship collapsed into itself, gently, like paper soaked through. No debris. No death. Just understanding. The fleet was gone in less than 2 minutes, and Earth still hadn't said a word. Inside council chambers, the panic went nuclear. Delegates argued over protocols, not used in centuries. They wanted Earth sanctioned. Quarantined. Obliterated. But none of them dared send another fleet, because every ship they sent either disappeared or came back wrong. One returned with every file corrupted. Another landed safely, but its crew spoke only in Terran poetry verses Earth never recorded. One pilot whispered only, "It's not that they're strong. It's that they waited." Then she stopped breathing. Heart still beating, eyes open, still smiling. In Earth's Pacific Trench, Vault 12 breached. Inside was the last relic. Not a bomb, not a ship. A man, suspended in STAS ICE.UNAGED. His name, Marcus. Hollow. Once commander of Earth's Lost Vanguard. Presumed dead. Now blinking in a room that barely remembered gravity. Where am I? He asked. Jules stood at the door. Home. Marcus stared at him. Did they knock? Jules nodded. Hard. And Marcus, once feared by 7 empires, only smiled. Then they've earned what comes next. The universe held its breath. Earth had no fleets in motion. No declarations of war. No speeches. But across the stars, systems failed. Command lines dissolved. Empires broke treaties out of terror. Not strategy. Because Earth was no longer waiting. It was awakening. And they had knocked on the wrong door. Now something behind. It was moving, and Earth still hadn't responded. Earth wasn't neutral. It was merciful. Writing now. The man didn't speak. For the first 6 hours, Marcus Hollow sat in the center of Vault 12, legs crossed, eyes open, watching ancient command screens flicker back to life around him. His breath was calm. His heart rate perfect. Muscle readings Optimal. Earth had locked him away during the last war, not because he was dangerous to the enemy, because he was dangerous to the idea of restraint. He had volunteered for it. Cryosuspension, full memory retention, tactical reanimation. On global authorization. A war measure never meant to be reversed. Unless Earth was ready to stop hiding. Status? He asked quietly. Jules stood beside the console, hands folded behind his back. The council breached Europa. We gave them a chance to retreat. They didn't take it. They never do? Marcus leaned forward, placing his palm on the old Terran relay node. The system recognized him before touch was complete. Marcus Hollow. Designation: Spectral Commander. Protocol class. Last line. A pause. Welcome back, sir. The vault. Lights changed. From blue dot to red dot above Titan's orbit, the sky cracked. Not visibly, not to the eye, but every ship within 3 light minutes experienced a distortion so perfect that it registered before it occurred. Time loop buffers and non-Terran ships began ejecting their cores preemptively, trying to escape something that hadn't happened yet. It didn't help, because this wasn't an attack. It was a redefinition. The stars shifted by less than 0.1 degrees. Just enough for every nav system to scream, and then came the return signal from a system that no longer existed on any star map. Terran code. Encrypted. Unfiltered. And just 2 words. Last line active. On board Council Command Station Orcs Prime, 3 fleets were rerouted immediately. Orders were given to contain the system. None of the fleets made it past Saturn. 1 didn't even make it past themselves. The Council didn't realize until it was too late that their own ships had started talking to each other in Terran signal bursts. Not enough to cause alarm. Not until Ship 7A991 initiated a spontaneous turn toward its squad mate and opened fire. It hadn't been hacked. I had made a decision, a moral one, and that moral framework was Earth-built. Marcus stepped out of the vault an hour later, dressed not in armor, but a black synth-weave uniform marked only by a silver ring over the Heart Terran designation for finality. Jules handed him a data chip, deployment keys for the Mirage arrays. Still coded to your signature. Marcus held the chip for a long time. Then crushed it in his fist. We won't need them. Jules blinked. Sir? They still don't understand. Understand what? Marcus looked up at the sky, though they were kilometers underground. They think they're fighting ships. He turned toward the lift, but they woke up us. In a forgotten quadrant near Varek space, an old Terran observation buoy reactivated for the first time in 108 years. Its only function was to listen. So when it received the phrase, "Last line active," it began transmitting on all passive frequencies, not in language. In feeling. Empires that intercepted the message began evacuating, not because of what it said. But because of what it made them remember. A scream without sound. A funeral without a name. A war Earth never declared but ended. The last time Last Line was activated, 7 planets ceased orbit for 8 seconds. 1 never restarted. Inside Council's war room, factions crumbled. The Kalari wanted to sue for peace. The Frenori wanted to escalate. The Talsari wanted to disappear. No one agreed, but they all feared the same thing. Name. Marcus Hollow. His legend had been erased from archives, redacted even from blacksite logs, but stories remained, always stories, of a man who never blinked in a gravity breach, who once rerouted a starship using voice commands alone, who once stood alone on the hull of a burning cruiser and said one line, "Put it back the way it was." And the universe obeyed. Because when Marcus Hollow spoke, systems listened. And now he was awake. The Ralek Dominion collapsed on day 5. Their fleets had been closest, They sent a final data packet hoping, begging for permission to defect. Earth didn't reply. Instead, every Rollick ship received a phrase: you join the knocking. You stay at the door. And then, quietly, every single engine core aboard those ships powered down. Manually. One by one. Not by sabotage. By choice. No explosions. No drama. Just stillness. The kind that only comes before extinction or forgiveness, and Earth hadn't made its decision yet. In Earth's upper orbit, a shape began forming. Not launched. Called. Constructs moved into place, assembling around a central silent core. It didn't blink. It didn't hum. It simply became. Terran engineers didn't call it a ship. They called it a punctuation. Its formal designation: L4E, last line echelon, unofficially. The door. Because if you were close enough to see it, you were too close to walk back through. Marcus stepped into the staging hall below Olympus and ran a hand along the black alloy rail that hadn't been touched in a century. Across from him, a young officer stood rigid. Sir, should I inform the International Command? Council, you're assuming global override? Marcus looked at her. Then down at his wrist. Then back. Has Earth responded yet? No, sir. He nodded. Then I haven't either. The officer hesitated. So what do we do? He walked past her. The words landed like iron. We finish what they started when they breached Europa. Back in council space, the delegates gathered for one final emergency session. No translators. No fanfare. Just fear. They didn't send a fleet. One delegate said. They didn't send demands. They haven't said a word. Another hissed. And then the screen blinked. Not hacked. Offered. A single human face appeared. Calm, gray-eyed. Marcus Hollow. Your last opportunity passed, he said. No anger. No passion. Just a statement of time. We kept the door locked out of mercy. He leaned forward. You came to our planet. You knocked on a sealed tomb, and you forgot the first rule. He smiled, a cold one. If we don't respond, it's because we're already inside. And the feed ended. In deep space, the stars moved. Not physically, algorithmically. Earth's long dormant net of observation arrays finally activated. They didn't blink. They learned. One Council fleet jumped into the system. By the time they emerged, each crew member had relived every major Earth conflict in perfect detail emotionally, physically, psychologically. One of them spoke only one phrase before going silent. I understand now why they didn't join the war. Why? Someone asked. He whispered, because Earth is what comes after. And Earth still hadn't responded. It started with silence. Not absence intention. Every relay, every probe, every council transmission that reached Earth space received no static, no denial, no encryption. Just nothing. Nothing loud enough to hum inside their bones. And in the shadow of Saturn's rings, the door L4E- opened. Not with engines. Not with thrusters. It unfolded. As if space itself had agreed. Something this final didn't travel. It arrived. Because it had always been here, just waiting for the right mistake to step close enough. And the mistake had a name. Europa. That breach wasn't an incursion. It was a key. Now the lock was gone. Now the room was open. And Earth had stepped into it. Marcus. Hollow stood on the observation tier of the echelon, facing the dark beyond Jupiter. His reflection stared back through transparent steel, his eyes calm. Behind him, the Terran command net buzzed not with panic, but with precision. Each satellite, drone, array, and orbital shell moved without prompt. There was no barking of orders. No shouting. Just rhythm. Because Earth never forgot what war felt like. It had just decided not to live there. Until now. Final signature received from Vault 9, said the AI. All memory weapons online. Marcus didn't move. Any movement in council. Fleets? They're backing away. Good. The pause that followed lasted 2 heartbeats. Then, bring them closer. In council space, the emergency broadcast system failed. 1 moment. Every screen showed a looped warning from the Tal-Sari High Admiral calling for immediate recall of all ships within 5 systems of Sol. The next. That feed turned black and played something no one expected. A field of grass under a Terran sky wind then children. Laughing voices unseen then a woman's voice clear, human, unthreatening. We offered you peace. A pause. You mistook it for fear. Another moment. Soft piano note. You assumed silence was weakness. The image flickered. Now a scorched battlefield. A crater where a city once stood. We assumed you could learn. Now Earth, orbiting, patient, distant, but you didn't. The screen went dark, and 1 line appeared. We'll finish the sentence. On board the last line echelon, power grid stabilized into what Terran engineers called quantum intent. It meant the ship didn't fire. It decided. Marcus walked to the central platform. His hand rested against the activation rail. No key. Number. Codes. Just pulse recognition. The AI blinked. Commander Hollow. Confirm objective. His voice came like gravity. We end the question. 3 council fleets fled immediately. 4 hesitated. 2 tried to open negotiations. 1 activated first. Strike protocol. The echelon registered all 8 responses simultaneously. Then responded with none. Instead, it broadcast a story across every ship in every language. No screens. Just voices. Terran. Calm. Measured. It told the story of Earth's first encounter with interstellar life, of kindness returned with insult, of neutrality mocked, of restraint laughed at. It told of ships held back, of weapons sealed, of tombs never disturbed until they were. Then came the last words. The sentence was peace. Then you added a comma. Now we're the period. And then the stars bent. It wasn't fire. Not at first. Council ships stopped moving, stopped being. 1 moment. Physics functioned. The next. It did not. Planets paused their spin. Engines ran backward. Light slowed. Not because of a weapon, but because Earth had built something smarter. Not to destroy you. To deny your definition of reality. And once denied, you ceased to belong. 1 captain watched his crew blink out, cell by cell, digit by digit, not screaming, just forgetting how to exist. His last words? I never knew they waited. Inside the council's great archive, the last surviving delegate stood before a memory recorder. We were arrogant, he whispered. The chamber around him was breaking slowly, gently. Not collapsing, but folding. As if reality itself had tired of holding the shape they'd given it. We called them primitives. We mocked their silence. He touched the recording glass. They were never afraid. He choked. They were merciful. The chamber cracked. The recording cut off. The galaxy recorded its last official testimony, and the last word was forgiven. Not by the council. By Earth. Back aboard the echelon. Marcus watched the feed end. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He turned from the screen and whispered, "Deactivate sequence." The eye blinked. Final echo secured? Yes. Terran response complete? Marcus looked up through the viewing glass. Earth hung silent below them, still wrapped in blue, still spinning, still soft. Yes. He said. The AI dimmed. The ship powered down. Like a story putting its pen away. No. Fanfare. Just finished. And in every corner of the galaxy where Earth had once been doubted, feared, ignored, there was nothing left to argue. No monuments built. No wreckage scattered. Just room. Room. To rethink the shape of power. Because Earth never wanted a throne. They wanted peace. The galaxy said no. So Earth became the last sentence, and they never had to say another word.